And finally, with this one, it feels like, yes, a ship could pull up to this, and it would not seem too small.
Hey, Lego fans. My name's Graham. I'm here with Daniel. We're going to be talking about BrickLink Designer Program Series 5. The latest batch of fan design sets on BrickLink are going up for crowdfunding very soon on June the 10th. So we're going to go through the different models, talk about what we think of them, and help you decide how you're not going to spend all of your money as soon as these things go live on BrickLink.
Or spend all of it, go ahead and do all of it. That'd be fine too.
If you don't want to watch this video, if you're not making decisions, just go and order all of these things. That's the top level advice. So let's start by talking about the Adventure in Transylvania set. This is designed by Sleepless Night. It's going to be $349.99, but for that you're getting 4,056 pieces.
And that really, before we even get into the specific models, that is one of the true beauties of the BrickLink Designer Program, is they are always amazing value for money in terms of number of bricks, size, all of that. I guess getting a lot of the development for free really cuts down on the set cost, and they pass that on to the consumers, which is awesome. These are all really good value. And yeah, especially this one, like you said, 4,000 some odd bricks for that price. Amazing.
It's amazing because on the face of it, it's like, wow, that sounds like a lot of money to spend, but the amount of Lego brick you're getting for it is bonkers. It's nothing like we see anywhere else.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful model. Like this one caught my eye immediately as I was, perusing the ones that were, released for Series 5. Just that the first thing is just the amazing window work. Just the intricacy of, the main windows and kind of that, I guess it's kind of like a cathedral type room. But then also just all the little subtle architectural details. Like I'm in love with that kind of curved tower there that appears right in the middle of the model. Like it just seamlessly blends, and just anytime you can do a curve in a Lego build, it just immediately elevates it because it's such a shape that doesn't naturally occur, right, in Lego models. So I absolutely love the architecture of this set.
The form of it is bonkers because, like, you've got, as you say, that curve in the whole building that gives it that really kind of, it just draws your eye to it. But then you've got a curve in the opposite way where the stairs are, and the two coming together is just like these architectural details would look cool on like a square building, but on a building with this kind of really unique form, I think it just elevates the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of elevated, it is really cool how it's as you mentioned, the stairs, like the whole model is built kind of up, right? Like the majority of it is kind of up from this foundation and this base, so that the whole thing just kind of looks a little bit like a castle on a hill, which is such a classic, those old elevated base plates seem to be getting the concept at least seems to be getting a second life here, which really,
you can really imagine being a minifigure who's on the ghost tour, like looking up at this thing and like how terrifying and foreboding it's going to be. It really conveys the whole idea.
And the other thing I really love about it too, and again, just kind of a nod, I guess, to the kind of horror, Dracula and all of that, is that they very intentionally made it so that this model looks like it's in the fall season. And I always love when Lego models kind of include a reference to the season, and kind of a look and feel that kind of harkens or conveys that sense. I remember when the Ninjago set, the Temple of Air Jitsu came out, which is also modeled to look like it's in the fall. Like I couldn't believe it as I was building it. Like I felt the feeling of fall, like that kind of crisp air. And I think I was building in the middle of the summer. And I just remember building it. I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like fall. And I kind of get a similar vibe from this one. And I don't love fall myself. I am a hot weather person. So, but I deeply am impressed by the ability to convey a season through Lego elements.
Well, again, it's that like extra level that you go to when like you can build something that just has a sense of place, but then when you can add that extra layer to it, again, it just conveys so much more to the senses than it does when it's just a building that could exist in any kind of time or place.
Yeah.
And I think what's really fun about this as well, and I've noticed this with a few of the BrickLink sets that we've got coming up, is that it's hinged so that it opens and closes. Now,
Yeah.
recently, BrickLink asked people to stop submitting things in the modular format so that that would kind of continue to be unique to icons. But
Mm.
and I don't know whether this was in response to that or if a lot of these models were designed this way anyway. But there's something so great about having hinged opening buildings and then buildings with open backs that you can access the rooms, because it just takes me back to being a kid and playing with Lego in the 90s, and like all of those buildings that hinged open and you
Yeah.
could access all the rooms and everything. It just takes you right back to that mindset.
And the old classic castles that, the walls would open up, kind of a similar look and feel as to this. Yeah, that definitely hits the nostalgia factor as well as being a beautiful model all on its own.
So we can move on to something more colourful now to talk about, and that is
All
the
right.
Popcorn Wagon. So this one was designed by Mikhail Terzansky, and it is 594 pieces and $54.99. And it's just a kind of classic retro popcorn stand, like the sort that you would see at a theme park or see at a fair or something. Kind of 1950s kind of vibe, but the sort of style that's emulated a lot in modern day to capture that sense of kind of old school Americana almost.
Yeah. I really like this one because, and again, I think you already said it there, that kind of a fair feel to it. And the fairground kind of sub theme within the Lego catalog is one of my long running favorites. And this just feels like it would just perfectly fit in. I'm really excited about it because those fairground sets are so big, right? And, they look great together, but there's nothing that kind of goes in between. Like some of them, like the roller coasters and stuff, kind of hint at a larger amusement park or fair with what's at their base, but beyond kind of the footprint of the model, there's just been nothing. Nothing to flesh out a full, park experience. So something like this would just look so perfect, just sitting right outside the roller coaster or, the Ferris wheel from back in the day. And I just love the colors and the cobblestones. Like it's a model that would look great to be played with, right? Like rolling it around. Like I can see a kid
Yeah.
enjoying this. It obviously is designed to be its own display piece, right? Sitting on a corner of your shelf or something as a conversation starter. It would work great in that. And then it would look fantastic in any sort of layout or display, whether it's something you just got at home or something you take to a convention. It's so well built, so professionally done, that it just would look perfect in all of those applications. So something that's so versatile on top of being, I mean, my goodness, the cost per piece is incredible on this, how low it is. So yeah, just again, another great model. Really, really strong series this time around.
And I think you really touched on like the professional look of it. It made me think of, when Icons and Ideas every now and again does a vehicle to complement the modular building collection. It
Yeah.
feels like it's to that kind of standard. Like
Mm.
this isn't a city set or a friend set. This is like those kind of super detailed, vehicles that we've had to complement those adult models.
Yeah, and as always with something like this, like it's the little details, right? Like I love the roof of it with the parts that are normally horizontal, pointing upwards instead, and just the broom, and I think I already mentioned the cobblestones. I love cobblestone streets in Lego builds. I just think it just takes it to another level. So I love seeing that here as well, and just so many lovely and well done details.
And if you want to stay up to date on what's going on at BrickLink, then you need to subscribe to Bloxs Magazine. Go to bloxsmag.com, take a look at the magazine, find out what it's all about. It's 116 pages every month for deep Lego fans. We're deep diving into all of the good stuff that you love about the Lego hobby. So if you're enjoying this conversation, if you enjoy getting deep into the world of Lego, including BrickLink, then make sure you take a look at Bloxs Magazine. So now, Daniel, we're going to look at a set that I think you and I think our responses are going to be pretty predictable for this one.
You know what? We anyone who has read our work or interacted with us, any knows that we are both certified Lego pirate fanatics.
So Taylor Anderson has built a 4,002-piece set called the Thieves of Tortuga. And this is just the wildest kind of island town where you can imagine the pirates are hanging out. This is their den of kind of piratiness, where they're going to be drinking some rum, staying out of the way, enjoying some downtime.
So I don't even know where to start about how much I love this set. So first of all, like going back to the classic pirate days of the Lego group, I always felt like the island sets or the bases, right? Whether it was the forts or the pirate islands or whatever, they were always so small in
Yeah.
comparison to the ships, right? They were just dwarfed. And finally, with this one, it feels like yes, a ship could pull up to this, and it would not seem too small. I just love the size of it, the length, the multiple buildings, the mix of colors. It's just all perfect. I would love to. I cannot wait to get this set and see it. I'm definitely going to go have to rebuild one of my old pirate ships and just park it at this place. And then there's also the modularity aspect of it, where it can kind of be flipped around and rearranged and all of that. Like everything about it just makes me so happy. Every pirate set that comes out, just love it. And this is just feels like a love letter, like a modern love letter to the kind of the classic old Imperial Trading Post, El Dorado Fortress. It's just got some of those same vibes with the different buildings and the port and all of that. And it's fantastic.
Of all of the sets in Series 5, this is the one I think as well that's like the most inspiring for kind of expanding and things. You can really
Yeah.
imagine adding some more buildings to this, building another island, because I think Taylor's given it such a kind of style, such a kind of sense of place and everything that you can really imagine what you might build onto this. He's really kind of pointed you in a direction that you could really take it a long way with this particular set.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could build a whole harbor, scene around this, and a full village behind it. That it seems like it would just perfectly, just almost like plug right into. And yeah, this I again love the mix of the different colors of the buildings, right? From the sand blue to the various shades of tan, medium nougat, and just the various dark, kind of orangey browns. It's such a great earthy color. I love those mix of colors, and he's just put them together perfectly in this model.
It's one of those ones as well where I've looked at the pictures, but I've tried not to like look at all of the different pictures that are available on
Yeah.
BrickLink because I want some surprises when I build it. Because I have a feeling that there might be some references and things in there to some of the sets and minifigures that we grew up with.
Ooh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That would be awesome. I love a good reference or Easter egg in a set.
So, Mushroom Village. Anyone who's kind of involved in the Lego community will be aware of Jonas Cram's Mushroom House. That was a previous BrickLink Designer Program set that had a lot of success on ideas, but it was BrickLink Designer Program where it actually became realized as a set. And this, I guess, is a sequel to that. It's 2,436 pieces. It's going to be $209.99. And it continues this kind of Lilliputian world of mushrooms and flowers. And then the minifigures are these little forest characters who are living on the floor amidst all of these giant, oversized foliage around them. It's just so charming and so different to anything else that you see in a Lego model.
Yeah, charming really is the perfect word, both for the initial Mushroom House model and these. Like it's an aesthetic that really hasn't shown up anywhere else in the Lego product portfolio, and it's just so just delightful. Like it's got such a uh, it just it's such a vibe to it, if you will, where it's just you can just
Yeah.
totally imagine this kind of this happy little life of all of these tiny characters living in their mushroom house, and the color. There's just such an opportunity within this kind of fanciful, almost like a fairy type world of being able to mix these colors and kind of the natural elements with the buildings. And that's just something that the Lego group doesn't do very often, kind of mix those two together. There's been things like elves, and before that, the forestmen, and there's been examples of it through the years. But this is just so delightfully charming, and they just all look so happy. Like it just looks like a place you'd absolutely want to shrink down and live in yourself. And I also think it's going to be a really fun build with just the angles and the really unique parts usage. Flowers are great for that, right? The botanicals have started that and established such a great foundation of just these crazy uses of bricks, and it just seems like there's tons of that here. And it's
Well,
also
just
fun.
by glancing at the images, right, you can see the amount of different techniques and things that you're going to be using. Like, it's not going to be a repetitive build. There's so many different things to do in it.
Yeah, and just the way that it just kind of all comes together is I think going to be a real delightful build. And I also love when things get shrunk down. Like, it's kind of fun to upscale things that are like taking Lego bricks and representing things at almost real world scale. Like, those flowers and mushrooms are actually the size that you can find mushrooms and flowers out in the real world. And so that's another, just I think, part of this set's charming delight, just oozing with charm, that it's kind of, this is what it might actually look like if you were out walking in the forest and found this.
I think that's the intangible that we keep tiptoeing around. I think it's the world building. I think it's like how purposeful everything is,
Mm,
how thought out it is. Like the fact that one of the mushrooms is a shop, and then there's a character riding on a ladybird with like a
yeah.
bucket full of stuff behind them. It feels like this is a genuine environment that these characters are all living out their daily lives in. And I just think it's so cool that BDP has reached a point that people are almost starting to build their own Lego themes within
Mm,
it. Like, you
yeah.
can collect a series of sets that are going to build on one another, just like when you buy typical Lego branded sets. It's pretty wild.
I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Yeah, we are starting to see, kind of these trends. And then, yeah, here, a designer with two of the same ideas at different, price points and everything. It really is almost like its own little theme. And I say, huzzah, more of it, please.
If you enjoy hearing Daniel and I shoot the breeze about Lego and talk about whatever topic happens to be top of our mind that particular week, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell. The antique shop, and it's called Antique Shop, not Store, which I was very impressed by, very grateful for, is 1,918 pieces. And this one is by ThatOneGuySteve. And he has created just this charming little rural antique shop. I mean, if you picture a little antique shop out in a kind of small town in your head, you've pictured this set. It's really
Yeah.
amazing how quintessential it is.
Yeah, yeah, and he really has captured something, just the essence of what one of those places looks like. Yeah, when you're just driving along, and it is funny that you had that same thought. You being in the UK and me being here in the US. I guess antique shops kind of have a standard form that they take, but yeah, I just love the look of this, where it's kind of is got the shop at the bottom, but it also looks like whoever owns it lives upstairs. That it's kind of this remodeled house that has been turned into this little storefront. And that I drive by one of these when I go down to my job every day. There's this little house that someone converted over. They live in the upstairs, and they've got this little knickknack shop in the bottom, and it's just perfectly quaint and perfectly delightful. And he's really captured that essence here with this build.
It does give you that imagination, doesn't it, of a really idyllic life where you just get tucked up in your apartment above the shop. You go down each day, and yeah, it's so, and even like the truck that's in the set just fits perfectly with that vibe of a really old school way of living, like the idea that they're going out and collecting these antiques themselves and driving them back to the shop and so on.
Yeah, and then I love that there's the full interior, which of course it kind of had to be, but there's just such a fun set of parts usage in there, from old helmets from castle type sets to the little chess set with the little micro figures that have been used in Ninjago and other places for trophies, and then just all sorts of lamps and pots and pans. And I would love to see. I think you said it on one of the earlier builds. You're trying to avoid some of the pictures, so you don't see all the the little fun details and Easter eggs. But I'm sure that on those other shelves, there's going to be other interesting bits and bobs that they've got on there. So I look forward to seeing that as well.
Yes, I think the beauty of doing antiques is there's an excuse to reference a few classic Lego themes in there, isn't there? And some of the things that
Always. And then beyond that too, like, it also looks like just a great house. Like, it'd be really easy to modify this, take out some of the storefront type stuff and just turn it into something that sits in a neighborhood. It very much feels like it would fit in with those kind of creator sets where they've done houses through the years. It very much has that same kind of structure and aesthetic, and I think it would look right at home in one of those too. So it could also be something that people could get more value out of, or additional value out of, if they wanted to use it just straight up as a house. So again, great model.
That's such a good point. That's so true. And something I realized that we haven't touched on, but some people might be listening to us and wondering a little bit about what BrickLink Designer Program is. And this is a really unique scheme where 3 times a year, BrickLink ask Lego fans to submit their models to a special portal that they set up. And then all of the models are reviewed and they're put up there on the BrickLink website. And other Lego fans can vote for their favorite ones. And then once all the votes are tallied, BrickLink consider them all, and they choose a selection of 5 that then go up for crowdfunding, just like these sets are on June the 10th. So mark it in your calendar if there's any of these that you're interested in, because once they go up for pre-order, you can only order them for as long as they're available. And there's a limited edition of 30,000 per model. So a quick update at this point. Since Daniel and I recorded this video, BrickLink has announced that more than 30,000 sets can be produced of each design this time. So it might not be quite as urgent to order your BrickLink Designer Program sets as it has been in the past, but then again, we don't know how many more sets can be produced over 30,000. We don't know if it's like an unlimited amount of each design. We don't know if the cap's 40,000, 50,000. Literally, all we know is that more than 30,000 of each design can be produced. So, back to our original conversation. Now, in the past, some of these have sold out really quickly because, as you can see, the designs are beautiful. I mean, as we've been talking about, these are Lego builders at the top of their game submitting these things. So yeah, you need to be quick if there's a design that you particularly want, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, set an alarm and get there as soon as it opens up, because they can go fast. And I have a feeling that, again, I mean, we already had the Mushroom House before, so it seems likely that these 5 will be very popular.
And any that you do choose to buy, you then get them about like 6 to 9 months later. They come through, and you suddenly, you forget that you ordered it, and then you get a knock on the door, and there's the DHL guy with an enormous box with, if you're very irresponsible, 5 Lego sets in.
You're responsible. Come on, Graham. Whimsical. Let's go with whimsical. Or looking.
If you're doing your Lego hobby right, then you end up with the DHL guy turning up with all 5 boxes. That's what we need to say, isn't it?
100%. That exactly right.
And be sure to tell us in the comments which your favorites are, which you're planning to pre-order on June 10th. Don't forget, June 10th. I've still not finalised my shortlist. I know what's top of it, but
get them all, Graham. Get them all. I'll be the bad influence on your shoulder, whispering it to you.
Who needs space, right? As long as we've got
plenty or money. As long as you have Lego bricks, you're good. You're good.